Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's Tuesday, April 8th. Welcome to the Board of Education regular meeting. Will everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance led by Thomasina Bello? To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Ms. Christine Bello.
Here.
Ms. Thomasina Bello.
Here.
Ms. Mackenzie Boucher.
Here.
Ms. Victoria Boucher.
Here.
Mr. Bergarelli.
Here.
Mr. Duray.
Here.
Mr. Howard.
Here.
Ms. Politi.
Here.
Mr. Stewart.
Here.
First up on the agenda, student recognition for music, given by Ms. Christian Johnson.
Haha, I got it. Good evening, thank you so much. I'm so excited to celebrate the outstanding music achievements of our students this evening. Tonight, we recognize those who have represented our school with excellence in some of the most prestigious music festivals in the county, the region, the state, and beyond. These students have worked so hard, and their achievements reflect both their talent and dedication. Please join me in congratulating them as we highlight their accomplishments. We're going to start first with the OCMEA Senior High School All-County Ensemble. So the Senior High School All-County Music Festival is a significant event where students across the county come together to showcase their musical talent. This year, our students auditioned on October 22nd for chorus and October 24th for band and orchestra. The festival took place in January at Cornwall High School. Congratulations to the following students for their participation in this year's High School All-County Music Festival. Mariah Centinel, and if your name is called, you can just come right on up in front of the stage. Sydney Hope, Andrew Rodriguez, Stephanie Romano, Jacob Secreto, and Joseph Vega Ramos. Andrew Rodriguez, Andrew, Stephanie, Jacob, thank you. Joseph, are you Joseph? And a few more. All right, let's have you guys maybe slide over to the center. Next, we have the OCMEA Jazz All-County Music Festival. So similar to the Senior High School All-County Festival, it's another incredible opportunity for our students to shine. It's another two-day event which culminates in a performance. This year was held at Tuxedo High School. Students had to prepare a solo piece for their audition, including sight reading and scales. After a successful audition, students from across Orange County are selected to participate, and they join together in the final concert. Congratulations to the following students for their participation in the OCMEA Jazz All-County Music Festival. We have Kyla McMillan, Grace Musanti, and Drake Burns. Please come on up. And then give us some grace. But wait, there's more. Moving on to the NYSSMA Area All-State Ensembles. The NYSSMA Area All-State Ensembles represent the highest level of musical achievement in the regional level. These groups are open to students in grades 10 through 12, and they're selected based on their NISMA solo adjudications from the previous school year. This competitive audition process includes students from Greene, Ulster, Sullivan, Orange, and Rockland counties. Congratulations to the following students for their selection to the NISMA Area All-State Festival. We have Aiden Baez, Grace Musanti, Edgar Ramirez, Sydney Hope, Samaya Lassick, Stephanie Romano, Layla Gill, and Talia Diadio. Please come on up. Edgar Ramirez. You're getting your steps in tonight. Sydney Hope. Samaya. Okay, come on over for a picture. Moving on to the state level, to NISMA All-State Ensembles. The NISMA All-State Ensembles are among the most prestigious music ensembles in New York State, reserved only for high school juniors and seniors. Over 6,500 students apply for a spot, and only those who achieve a 99 or a 100 on their auditions are even considered. This is so competitive that sometimes even a perfect score won't get you into All-State. This highly competitive process culminates in the formation of all-state groups, and only the very best are chosen. We are thrilled to congratulate Grace Musanti for her participation in the NISMA All-State Vocal Jazz Ensemble this year. There you go. Congratulations. And Grace is sitting down, but she's not going very far. Which brings us to our final All-Eastern Division Honors Ensembles. The All-Eastern Division Honors Ensembles bring together top high school musicians from the Northeastern United States. This event is only held every other year and is part of the National Association for Music Education Eastern Division. Students selected must be in grades 11 or 12 and have previously performed in their state's All-State Festival. There's a hint. This prestigious festival draws the most talented musicians from 11 of our northeastern states, and we are excited to recognize Grace Musanti, who will be representing Newburgh in the All-Eastern Treble Chorus at the end of this month. Come on up, Grace. Thank you so much. Let's give one more round of applause to all these wonderful students for their hard work.
Next up on the agenda is an update from our budget consultant, Naraki Smith.
Yes, we can, sir. You can start whenever, sir. Yeah, we're good. You can just present, sir. You're good.
Mr. Howard?
Thank you, Madam President. Since I'm looking at the first line, this is for 25-26 school year, and this sound doesn't look like it's going to be good. Could we perhaps have them come and present in person?
They're going to.
Because this is going to, I, the sound system doesn't sound like it's going to accommodate and for everybody to hear, and for this to be an amenable session. I'm just saying this. We've been for 7 minutes and we're doing nothing. Could they come and do it in person?
Can't hear you, Mr. Howard.
Can they come and do the presentation in person at the next board meeting?
They're planning on doing that anyway.
They're coming in person on the 22nd.
Because this, okay.
Anybody have any questions?
Should we take the questions? They can email the questions so we can give it to them and get back.
Mr. Stewart?
Can we get some sort of report as to the status where we're at right now? And when can we expect the final report? Just asking what the status is right now, if we can get some sort of report, and when can we expect the final report?
Ms. Politi?
I'd just like to say to my fellow board members, can you hear me? It's not working? Okay, so, well, I don't think it's responsible. I don't think it's responsible to wait until the 21st to have the report when we need to adopt the budget on the 22nd. I don't think it's responsible for us to receive the report on the 21st, and we have to adopt the budget on the 22nd. By this Friday?
Are there any other questions? Okay, thank you very much. Next on the agenda is public comment on non-agenda, on agenda items.
Is this on?
Mr.
I know they're
Dre?
off the air now, but I think next time we go for a RFP, one of the qualifications,
You're talking to that gentleman.
is this on?
Yeah,
Okay.
it is.
One of the qualifications should be, when you make presentations, you make them in person. This is very awkward this way. You're talking, you're the board president, and, you know, we're echoing in the 21st century. We paid $25,000. Come and tell us what you did in person. And if you can't come from Long Island, which is fine, we'll hire a local firm. You know, just to continue it, when we got the RFPs, we ruled out people in Florida, the Carolinas, Washington, all over the East Coast, because we wanted local service. So I'm disappointed. I'll just put that on the record.
Mr. Howard?
Yes, Madam President. If I may ask the board clerk, how many people do we have signed up to speak for agenda and non-agenda items?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear, I couldn't interpret what you said.
I said, can I ask the board clerk how many people we have? He heard it.
Yeah, Mr. Howard, we have 6 people signed up for agenda items and 17 people signed up for non-agenda items.
So I would like to put a motion on the floor that we allow everyone who has signed up to speak tonight.
Second?
The motion on the floor is to allow all people who have previously signed up on the clerk's list to speak at the meeting tonight. Roll call, ma'am? Roll call. Ms. Thomasina Bello?
Yes.
Ms. Mackenzie Boucher?
Yes.
Ms. Victoria Boucher?
Yes.
Mr. Bergarelli?
Yes.
Mr. Duray?
Yes.
Mr. Howard?
Yes.
Ms. Politi?
Yes.
Mr. Stewart?
Yes.
Ms. Christine Bello?
Yes. Okay, public comment on agenda items. Please state your name and what municipality you live in. Who's first?
The first person signed up to speak tonight is Mr. Robert Gluwacki.
Good evening. I'm Rob Glowacki. I stand before you as Vice President of the Newburgh Supervisor and Administrators Association. Tonight, we are here to address, and we're deeply concerned about recent course of events affecting our unit members. On March 19th, 2025, 16 of our members received letters directing them to report to Human Resources for meetings that could be disciplinary in nature. There was no warning nor explanation as to the reason, and there was failure to provide 24 hours notice for the intended meetings. We have since learned that these meetings were intended to present them with 3 options: resign, face termination, or interview for a new position. These letters were issued to 5 building principals, 8 directors, and 3 assistant principals, people who are critical to the function of our school district. An hour later, after the letters and emails were received, another email went out stating that there were unforeseen circumstances and the meeting dates would be rescheduled for the week of March 24th. To date, they have not had any further correspondence or clarification of the sudden change. Each day, our 16 administrators wait and see if this is the day they will be called in. Each day, the 16 question what they did to deserve such treatment. The situation has caused significant undue stress within our unit. Our unit members are now left uncertain about their future in employment, creating an atmosphere of instability and anxiety. As all this is taking its toll on the 16, they continue to do their jobs on a daily basis with professionalism and provide our students the support they need to be successful. These 16 are committed to supporting the district and the students they serve. Our unit, which consists of 63 members, have already experienced a reduction last year when 7 administrators were let go, 2 of whom have been yet to replace with full-time personnel. Now, with the potential loss of 16 more positions, we face a critical shortage of leadership. This would be 16 people represent 25% of our unit. 3 years ago, we had over 80 members in our unit providing support to our staff, students, cafeteria, CSEA, NTA, and working alongside the executive team and our superintendent on a daily basis. We are committed to working alongside district leadership to strengthen our schools. We are committed to increasing our students' reading proficiency, overall proficiency, ensuring a safe and secure learning environment for all students, staff, teachers, teaching assistants, aides, school safety, personnel, cafeteria staff. As educational leaders, we recognize the importance of stability, consistency, continuity, and fostering student success. It takes a village. It takes every last one of us for our students to be successful. And our 16 play a huge role in that. Administrators play a direct and essential role in student achievement. We oversee daily school operations, ensure teachers have the resources they need to provide critical support to students, and maintain efficient and effective school environments. If the district eliminates these 16 positions, it will place an immense burden on the remaining administrators, making it exceedingly difficult to provide the level of leadership our students deserve. Recently, the district held a code of conduct meeting with all stakeholders. It was a fantastic meeting and a great start to revisiting the code of conduct. One of the key takeaways was the importance of leadership stability. Our students expressed that they rely on the consistency of the administrators to build a relationship and feel safe and when they're seeking support. We asked the board to carefully consider the impact of these decisions, not only on the administrators affected, but on the entire school community. We remain eager to collaborate and find solutions that maintain the integrity and effectiveness of our schools. Thank you for your time and consideration. We want our district to continue to get better, and we want to work elbow to elbow, but really, please strongly reconsider these decisions. Thank you for your time.
The next person signed up to speak is Miss Dawn Fuchek.
Good evening. My name is Dawn Fuchek. I'm a resident of the town of Newburgh. This evening, I'd like to address Agenda Item 7.2. It's come to my attention that the individual being recommended for this position reportedly has no prior experience in human resources. Despite this, the proposed contract sets the salary at $212,000. For comparison, the previous Assistant Superintendent for Human Resources, who left in 2024, earned a salary of $203,556. That individual brought with them 7 years of experience in the role and an additional 10 years as the Executive Director of Human Resources prior to his appointment as the Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources. I respectfully ask, how can this salary be justified for someone lacking any previous human resources experience? If this appointment is approved, we will have two individuals in some of the district's highest leadership positions, one with no central administration experience and another leading the Human Resources Department without any prior experience in human resources. The acting superintendent was appointed at a salary of $280,000 without prior central administration experience. Meanwhile, the currently suspended superintendent began at a salary of $270,000, bringing 13 years of relevant experience to the position. This discrepancy is deeply concerning. It not only seems fiscally irresponsible, but it also raises serious questions about how these decisions support the educational success of our students. Additionally, when the district already had a qualified and experienced deputy superintendent who could have stepped into the acting superintendent role without any additional financial burden to the taxpayers, why was that option not pursued? Ultimately, I urge you to consider how these hiring decisions reflect your commitment to fiscal responsibility and, more importantly, to hiring the most qualified individuals for the benefit of our children's education. Thank you.
Miss Tracy Wallace.
Tracy Waltz from the city of Newburgh. I'm just going to keep this short. And on the agenda items, 4.2, for budget update. If there was a budget update for the proposed update, I was just wondering why it was not on the agenda. Because there was, if there was a budget update to the proposed agenda on 4.2, we couldn't review it. 6.1, to approve a board liaison. Again, you're asking a board member to go and talk to students. This, of course, we went over this at the last meeting where there is no reason for a board member to go and speak to students by herself. I strongly disagree with a board member who is running for an upcoming Board of Education seat to speak to students about the Board of Education because her own opinions and bias are a conflict of interest. Another board member suggested that the students come back and speak to all the board members with their concerns and questions. I think that is a fair suggestion and the board should consider. 7.10, I think that the Empire After School program is a great program for 6 through 12. I'd like to know why this program is not available for K through 5. My kids attended K through 5 after school for a few years and received no homework help. They were on iReady for part of the time, and the rest of the time they were eating snacks and playing with friends. By the time they got home from the bus, they were exhausted and still had to do homework. As a result of their education not being positively impacted by attending after-school program offered by the district that includes transportation, I had to take them out of the program. We have an after-school program with OCC, I just couldn't look up the name of it, but did not provide transportation for that program. So I'm asking you to reconsider that. Thank you.
Mr. Dennis Grant.
Darn it. I saw that coming.
That's okay. You got it?
Sorry, Mr. Green.
That's all right. You got it, okay. Dennis Grant, Newburgh. I want to talk about why is this 6.1 resolution approving a board liaison to meet the representatives of the high school student council still on the table? At our last general meeting, at least 2 parents and taxpayers voiced clear and convincing concerns about this issue, particularly regarding policy 1600 on school visits. What is the specific purpose of this liaison? Why is a board member stepping into what should clearly fall under the responsibilities of the acting superintendent? This blurs the lines of the accountability and process. Board members are expected to remain impartial and focus on governance, not direct engagement with students in a way that could influence or politicize student matters. This approach appears to overstep and may even undermine proper channels of communication and authority within the district. I urge the board to reconsider and rescind this action. I'm aware getting involved in the operations of the district can be tempting, especially now, considering subpar leadership and odd handling of many of our principals and directors. Stay focused on your core responsibilities and let the administration handle operation matters. Teacher assistants are needed, respectfully, but they can't replace building and district leadership. Thank you.
Ms. Starla Burks.
Good evening. My name is Starla, City of Newburgh resident. As the others, My agenda item is 6.1. I'm not understanding why such urgency to put that into place now when you're going to have a student representation on the board in a couple of months. And it is kind of skeptical that you do it around the time that elections are going to be going on. You had ample opportunity to speak with these students all year long. It wasn't until these students came here and expressed how disappointed they were in you guys as the board that you then took an interest to speak with them, which I don't believe is for their good. It's only for your gain. But nonetheless, we want to know why. Why constantly put things on this agenda to be voted on that is not of importance? I don't think we should be voting on that. I think we should be looking at the fact that there's real issues, there's real problems. We need teachers' assistants, we need teachers, we need staffing. You're going to financially cripple this district with the losing or the firing, however you're going to do it, of these 16 important people. But yet you have an item on the agenda for a representative to go in to speak to students about what? If you can clearly voice what you're going in there for and make it make sense to the community, then maybe we would be more receptive to you going in there. But yet you guys have provided no transparency to anything. So make it make sense to us. Stop trying to go speak to the students now because you need their votes, you need their parents to come out to support a false narrative that you previously put out that you can no longer stand on. Let's get down to business. Let's get back to the basics. Let's be about our students and our community.
Mr. Ronaldo Santiago.
Good evening, Superintendent, members of the board. Ronaldo Santiago, Town of New Windsor. I would like to speak on items 8.11 through 8.15. I was very happy to see that this body is addressing some of the concerns of the parents of the student athletes and the state of NFME's locker room. I know I've stood at this podium and spoken about it before. My only hope is, my understanding is that there was renovations done not very recently, but recent enough that this area should be usable now. But obviously it's in a state of disrepair. So with these renovations, I just ask that we take special scrutiny to make sure that when these renovations are done, we have facilities that are adequate for our not only for our student athletes, but for our coaches and our phys ed teachers in order to properly supervise, in order to make sure that an incident like the one that happened this last football season doesn't happen again. Obviously, I think we've all learned lessons from this season, but obviously time passes, memories fade. So we need to make sure that we have proper facilities for our students and for our teachers. I'd also like to speak to item 10.2, which I'm very, very happy to see, an intro to teaching, new course approval. I've floated this suggestion before, and I'll float it here again. For students that actually take these courses within the Newburgh district, if they do intend to continue on into the educational realm, if there is some way that we can offer these students who have taken courses here to keep their skills here, perhaps some sort of financial sign-on bonus for new teachers, new administrators who are actually from the district in order to stay here, especially looking at students that are possibly ELL students in order to keep those skills within district, I think that would benefit us as a district and the community as a whole. Thank you.
Okay, moving on to non-agenda items. The first person is Mr. Michael Ryan.
Good evening. My name is Michael Ryan. I'm an English teacher at NFA Maine. I'm here to speak in support of our NFA Maine building principal and to address the district's decision to ask for her resignation. So I've worked in Newburgh for the past 30 years. I've been here longer than most of the people in this room, and I can tell you that there have been so many administrators, superintendents, central office admins, assistant principals, vice principals, department directors who have filtered in and out of this district throughout my career that I lost count trying to make up a list from my notes tonight. Many of our administrators in Newburgh at all levels don't stay long enough to establish a vision, implement long-term programs, or see them through. As a community, most of us can't reflect on any kind of shared history of what works and what doesn't work because we don't have enough people who can remember. Consistency, stability is not our strong suit, at least not during my time here. Everyone and everything is constantly new. And now this, one of our most valued, longest-serving district administrators has been asked to resign from her position as building principal of NFA Maine. She represents one of the only symbols of consistency that we have in Newburgh. She has done it all in Newburgh for 29 years in multiple buildings throughout this district, from classroom teacher all the way to head principal at NFA Maine and literally every building level administrative position in between that you can have in this district. In fact, and many of you might not know this, she has been called to fill the role of acting principal several times throughout her career after somebody else's removal. A tragic irony now as she finds herself in the position of the removed. These are challenging times for the Newburgh Enlarged City School District for so many different reasons. From a personnel perspective, I have never seen staff morale this low, district-wide, in my entire career. Through it all, she has continued to lead with optimism and support, instilling in her staff a sense of stability, morale, and confidence that we really need right now. You will be hard-pressed to find anyone who questions her strength as a leader. Her kind of wisdom has been earned over time. It's valuable, and it's not easily replaced. To learn that she has been asked to resign in her final year, her retirement year, after 29 years of service to this district, of being on call in every time of need is very disheartening to us, her staff, who have supported her and trusted her leadership. So I leave you with this. How can someone who has been everyone's right-hand woman for so many years suddenly be so disposable? I ask the board to please reconsider this decision. This woman is an asset to our community, and honestly, Newburgh is lucky to have her. Thank you.
Miss Elena Berninsky.
Good evening. My name is Elena Berengi, and I am a senior at Newbury Free Academy's main campus. I would like to speak to you all about the pink slips given to numerous employees in leadership positions. One of the people who has received notice is someone who has very positively impacted me as a person and not just as a student. Since I was in elementary school, I've always loved receiving the phone calls regarding 2-hour delays and snow days, or even a reminder that we have a day off. That voice, whoever it was on the other side of the phone, was a familiarity I looked forward to hearing when the announcement was broadcasted. I remember the first time I met her in the flesh. I was taking photos at the rehearsal for Peter and the Starcatcher. She came over to me and she was so friendly, kind, and open-hearted. In addition to giving tips about photos, she also showed so much interest in me as a student. Ever since, I have loved going to events knowing she was going to be there. She has become a role model to me, a person I look up to. She's a familiar face that makes me smile every time we share a room and I'm by her side. I recently wrote an email to her, and I would like to share this with you here because I feel it explains all she does for our district. It reads as follows. I wanted to send this email to let you know how much you are loved and appreciated in the district. I wanted to thank you for always being nothing but kind and constantly willing to teach me new things about photography and life. Even when I say my photos are awful, you always have something so encouraging to say. Every time I take photos with you, there's always encouragement to continue with photography even when I doubt myself. Throughout the last couple of years, I'm always the first one to volunteer to take photos for the musicals for one reason. That reason is because of you. As soon as my photography teacher wants photographers to attend an event, I always ask, do you think she is going to be there? For example, when we went to the Newburgh Archives for Black History Month, I was looking forward to it because there was a chance you were going to be there, and I would simply just get to say hi to you. You constantly put a smile on your face and share that with everyone you come in contact with. Every time we're at the same event, I always feel like I'm watched out and cared for. You always want to hear not just mine, but every student's accomplishments you interact with, and that just shows the exact type of person you are. Without her, we wouldn't see the positive aspects of the Newburgh and Large City School District. She constantly works night and day to show our district in a positive light that guides us. She supports every single student, and she goes to many of the district events, no matter the time of day it is or the type of event. To her, it doesn't matter if it's athletics or the arts, she is always there to cheer us on and capture the moments we will cherish forever. If you ask someone about Newburgh, chances are you won't hear anything but negativity. However, if you look on the district website, you will see nothing but positive and empowering stories from all the students at the Newburgh and Large City School District. She is the reason our students are empowered and appreciated, and not lost in the negativity you may hear. Although her role is not in the classroom, she has been a pivotal educator to me. She not only builds connections with the students she comes in contact with, but you can just tell how much she loves what she does. Watching her take photos at many district events, there's always a huge smile on her face, a pride for her job, the district, and the people and stories she is telling. I can't say enough about how much she has taught me about photography, being a better person, and having pride of place. She will always be someone I will remember once I move on to the next chapter of my life. Anytime I think back to what my high school experience looked like, I will always remember her as a person and the sound of her voice over my phone. I hope that as the Board of Education, you will open your eyes and reconsider your choices. Think about the students, the district, and the need for someone inspiring who can help us exceed our expectations inside and outside of school.
Ms. Jaren Levenstein.
Good evening. My name is Sharon Levenstein. I live in the town of Newburgh, and I'm an employee of the Newburgh School District for the past 19 years. I know speaking here tonight probably puts a target on my back, both professionally and on social media. However, I have to speak up. I am here to speak on recent events regarding the planned removal of administrators and central office staff. My question is, what is the thinking behind this? Some of you, not all, have decided to upset 17 people's lives for no reason other than vindictive revenge. While everyone is important, I am here to speak about one of the 17. She is currently the principal of NFA Maine. Over my 19 years in the district, I have had the privilege of working with this person at NFA Maine, South Middle School, Heritage Middle School, and now back at NFA Maine campus. You will never find a more committed, kind, and caring, but firm when needed leader than this administrator. She is at school each morning at the crack of dawn. When I arrive at 6 a.m., you will find her already hard at work, preparing for the day, arranging our need for subs for the day so our students can have a successful day. She is in the halls between periods, greeting and guiding students as they move from class to class. She is a rock when any issues arrive, big or small. She is a strong leader and is very well respected by all. I am asking you to reconsider this ridiculous decision. It is time to put the petty grievances aside and act like the adults you all are, and focus on this amazing district. Stop listening to the people feeding information from behind the scenes, and focus on our children. Our children is where the focus should be. I would not be standing here if I didn't feel this was absolutely necessary. Now, for the sake of our district, our students, our families, please reverse this decision. NFA Main Campus and the NECSD needs Susan Valentino.
Miss Rowan Masso. All right, we'll move on. Miss Sierra Alvarez. Mr. Akir McNeil.
Good evening, members of the board, acting superintendent, faculty, and community members. My name is Akir McNeil. I'm a senior at NFA Maine, and I stand before you as the senior class president and a proud NECSD student who genuinely cares about the future of this district. I'm here tonight because I, along with many of my peers, am deeply concerned about the possible termination of two significant members within our school community, our school principal and the director of communications. I've come to speak on their behalf and to challenge you guys to rethink your decisions/actions that would greatly impact our school community. Our principal has been a constant source of stability, leadership, and compassion, not just within our school, but within the district. Through every challenge our school and our city has faced, she has led with resilience. No matter what's thrown her way, she responds with peace, positivity, and a commitment to making our school a better place. Under her leadership, I witnessed a real shift. The NFA I walked into ninth grade is not the same NFA I walked through today. The drama and distractions that distracted students from learning have lessened a great amount. Not saying they don't happen anymore. That's because she has raised the bar. The expectations students are being held to has made them accountable in ways that push them to succeed. It's disheartening to see her being judged for situations that were never fully in her control. Going forward, more students are involved. More students feel seen, heard, and supported. At the end of the day, high school is going to be what you make it. If you come in with good intentions, you'll thrive. But those who struggle, who need a little more guidance, a little more love, and maybe even some tough love, our principal is there too, never giving up on anyone. Losing our principal would send a chilling message that the very leaders that invest in us, advocate for us, and fight for our future can be dismissed without truly understanding the consequences of that loss. It would subtract away from the progress we've made and highlight the deeper issues within our district that are often ignored or swept under the rug, but not anymore because us students and us community members are awake and we see what's really going on. To continue, one of the greatest privileges I've had in my time in this district has been being able to getting to know the Director of Communications. From the very first time I met her in the 5th grade, she's been a constant presence at every event, recital, game, or meeting, capturing the moments that matter and highlighting the achievements of students across the district. For many of us, seeing her walk in the room means that what we've worked so hard for will be acknowledged. She gives us more than recognition. She makes sure our stories are told, our accomplishments are celebrated, and our efforts are not overlooked. Personally, many of the opportunities I've had as a dancer, both inside and outside of the district, have been wouldn't have been possible without her. She's the She's the one who put my name out there, who showcased my passion and my talent in a light that opened doors I hadn't even dreamed of yet. Every positive story that comes out of NECSD, the ones that uplift, inspire, and remind us of the greatness within our schools, comes from her dedication. She shows up every single time, not for recognition or reward, but because she cares, because she believes in us. I truly appreciate and admire people who don't just do their jobs for the title or the paycheck, but those who pour their whole heart into their work. And that's who she is, and why so many of us, athletes, artists, club members, scholars, etc., stand behind her 100%. She has been there for us when others haven't. She holds this district together, informing families and students about the important updates we need to know. Terminating these individuals doesn't just affect adults on paper. It affects the lives of thousands of students, staff, and families who rely on their guidance and leadership. It could disrupt programs, delay progress, and damage the fragile trust we are working so hard to build in our district. We ask that before any decisions are made, the board truly considers the voices of people who will be most impacted, the students. We ask for transparency, we ask for conversation, and most of all, we ask for accountability, not just from our school leaders, but from the board as well. We are not just numbers or names on a roster. We are human beings, growing and learning in a
Sir, time is
system
up.
that needs to put people before politics.
Mr. Wilman Liel.
Hello. Good evening. My name is Wilman Leal. I'm from Newburgh. I am a senior at NFMA, and I'm here to represent the principal at NFMA. I would like to tell you my personal story and why I would like this same principal to lead my campus. I got to the U.S. just 2.5 years ago. My mom signed me into school, and I was placed in NFMA. I didn't know the difference between campuses. I just knew I was in the biggest high school I have ever seen. Of course, I got lost a couple times, but there was always people that helped me or asked if I was okay, if I knew where to go. This shows that every single staff at the school showed up when I felt lost. At first, I didn't feel like a go back. I had to find a job to support my family, and it was almost a full-time job. There were many times that I didn't have faith in myself and almost dropped out of school. However, our principal knows how to work with people. She knows who she's working with and has led a great team of teachers that support me, even when I didn't believe in myself. For example, my principal encouraged and advocated for students and teachers to participate in a program called Pride that specifically strengthens Latino leadership among teenagers looking for a future in the political world. She understands the importance of a program that targets Latino students, which are the majority of NFMA. Pride told me that leadership is showing up every day, being consistent, perseverance, and fighting for what you believe in. My principal has showed these leadership skills by dedicating over 30 years in this district and having an open door policy for all students and teachers, regardless of who they are and where they come from. Not only does she know her community, but she is a product of this community. Most importantly, she does her job with love, and that is leadership, which is hard to find and can't be replaced. In conclusion, I would like to invite you to walk into our principal's shoes. Come and visit us, not only for a few hours or one day. Come and stay for a few weeks from 5:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. like our principal does and tries to embody the same connections and love that she has from teachers and students. I don't believe in perfect things, and I know that this campus is not perfect. And whoever's making this decision, I do not like it. Don't try to make things perfect, because everything's gonna keep getting fake. Everything's gonna keep going under the table. Please don't do it. Because in places like this, with leaders like this, you will find beauty. And please don't just focus on the negative side, and let yourself see the amazing job and effort this woman does for all of us.
Ms. Dawn Fuchek.
Good evening, Dawn Fuchek, resident of the town of Newburgh. Let me begin by saying that I am not opposed to change in this district. In fact, it's clear that change is necessary. Our graduation rates, along with ELA and math scores, have been areas of concern for many years. This is not a new issue, nor is it unique to our district. It's a national crisis, and we are failing our children, and I fully support meaningful efforts to turn that around. However, change must be thoughtful and purposeful, not driven by personal agendas or vendettas. Our priority must always be the best interest of students, while also being fiscally responsible toward taxpayers. A recent budget presentation made it clear that a significant administrative restructuring is taking place, both at the central office and building levels. What data is guiding these restructuring decisions? How will this impact the budget? We know that principals, APs, directors, they're essential to this district and to our school building and to our scholars. Where is the accompanying organizational chart that outlines this new structure? And why hasn't it been shared? Where is the transparency? Is this new restructuring plan in the best interest of our scholars and their educational needs? Secondly, I'd like to ask again, as was mentioned at the last meeting, where is the contract for the forensic audit? I still don't see it attached to any minutes of any meetings as is customary. I certainly hope the cost of that audit is not what I am hearing that it is, because I've heard that it's over $300,000. For a forensic audit that it still remains to be seen, was it even necessary? I guess the community and myself will continue to wait and see when this contract is posted so we can get the factual information. Thank you.
Miss Laverne Davis.
Ladies and gentlemen of the board, my name is Laverne Fern David, parent and homeowner in New Windsor. I stand before you today with a deep sense of concern and urgency regarding the recent developments within our district. As members of the Board of Education, your decisions impact the future of our children, and the fear that some of the recent actions taken are jeopardizing the very foundation of our educational system. I am deeply, deeply troubled by the mass termination of our building level administration and coordinators. These are seasoned professionals who have dedicated their careers to ensuring our schools run smoothly, that our students receive a quality education, and that our teachers are supported in their critical work. I must ask, who is going to carry out this vital work now? How will the sudden loss of these key leaders impact the day-to-day functioning of our schools? Moreover, I am concerned by the suspension of our superintendent without any clear, publicly available justification to the community. I think we are owed an explanation. The lack of transparency. The lack of transparency surrounding this decision is unsettling. Our community has a right to understand the rationale behind such a significant action. Can we, as a community, trust that these decisions are being made in the best interest of our student? Can we trust that? In addition, the proposed shift in the curriculum, particularly the introduction of 2 new reading and math programs, raises even more concerns. Teachers are being asked to adapt to 2 new programs simultaneously, while also coping with the loss of their building level leadership. I must ask, how can we expect teachers to successfully implement these programs when they are already stretched thin? How are we ensuring that teachers will have the necessary support to make these transitions successfully? And most importantly, how will these sweeping changes affect our students, particularly those who need stability and consistency to thrive? The burden being placed on our teachers is both unfair and unsustainable. In the end, I fear that our students, those who we are here to serve, please remember, we are here to serve the students, will be the ones who suffers from the destabilization of this district. The loss of experienced leadership, the introduction of new curriculums without adequate preparation or support, and lack of clarity in the decision-making process all contribute to an environment of uncertainty and strain. I urge this board to reconsider the direction we are headed. It is crucial that we provide our teachers with the resources and leadership they need, not add to their burdens. And most importantly, it is imperative that we remember our ultimate responsibility to protect and support our students. I ask that you consider the long-term impact of these decisions and how they will shape the future of our district. How can we move forward in a way that prioritizes the well-being and success of our students above all else? Thank you for your time and consideration.
Ms. Tracy Wallace.
Hey, I'm sorry, excuse me. Do you have the microphone ticket from the? Oh, I don't think it's connected. Okay. Sorry. Yeah. Tracy Wallace from the City of Newburgh. I want to talk about the Exceptional Learner Department. For the pink slips that went out, I believe there are 3 from the Exceptional Learner Department. This is basically dismantling the Exceptional Learner Department. These proposals were on the acting superintendent's proposed, if I'm not mistaken, presentation, the cuts. So it is to my understanding that the board has to yet vote on these proposed cuts. I'm asking the board not to have your judgment clouded by recommendations, but to look at the Exceptional Learner Program. And I'm going to read the policy, 4321.14, on special education personnel. The board acknowledges its responsibility to recruit, hire, train, and retain highly qualified personnel as defined in the Federal Individuals with Disabilities Education Act and its accompanying regulations, and in Article 89 of the New York State Education Law and its accompanying regulations to provide special education programs and services. The superintendent is responsible for ensuring that the professional staff is appropriately certified, licensed, and trained, and they meet the high qualified standard established in the federal and state law. The board will fulfill its obligation with regard to special education personnel by taking measurable steps, including but not limited to the following: actively recruiting personnel who possess prior experience working with students with disabilities. Seek candidates for teaching positions who are duly certified to the extent possible. Provide ongoing training and professional development to CSE and CPSE members and other special education program and service providers to ensure their continuing awareness of their obligations and responsibilities under law. The reason why I'm reading this is because we have qualified personnel in the Exceptional Learners Department. And there are 3 that we're giving pink slips. And these 3 are important to the Exceptional Learners Department because kids in the Exceptional Learner Program are already struggling. I know people who work in the Exceptional Learner Program under the directors. One, Jason Gerard, he's a director. And he was very helpful with my students. I know you're going to bang that gavel. I already heard people just say the principal's name. I've heard people say several names that just spoke and it wasn't gavelled at. So this person has helped me a great deal and helped many others, parents with children with exceptional learners. And it would be a great loss if he would have left the Newburgh School and Large City School District. I'm also wondering, with the dismantling of the Exceptional Learners Program, because the directors got pink slips, what plan is in place? I don't understand how the exceptional learners can possibly do what they have to do, which we've been working really hard with the exceptional learners without these directors. I also want to comment about my concerns of a comment that was made by an administrator of curriculum last week, and she was directed not to answer any questions from the board members. That's concerning. The board members are oversight over the administration, and they shouldn't be directed by the superintendent not to answer any questions from the board. Thank you.
Ms. Angie Ludina.
Good evening, everyone. I am Angela Dena, a senior from Newburgh Free Academy North Campus. It is public knowledge that approximately 16 administrators are being considered for termination. When I heard that one of those administrators was one of my former administrators, I decided to come here and speak. This administrator was at NFA North and is currently at Heritage. I am here to inform my audience that this administrator has demonstrated unconditional support to a numerous amount of students at Newburgh Free Academy. From the start of the day, when I walked into the building, I could see her standing by the entrance, greeting every single student with a big smile on her face and her willingness to make the most of our high school careers. This administrator has always been there to advise the students when they needed it the most. Whether the topic involved academic subjects, personal life, or professional goals, she always assisted us as best as she could. This administrator excelled in every possible area of her job, but her disposition to helping students to reach one of their most important goals in their life, as it is our high school graduation, was what set her apart. She has helped my cousin with academic subjects and personal concerns, two of them being the possibility of graduating high school and succeeding in the ELL program. Thanks to her support, my cousin managed to graduate NFA on 2022, obtaining more than a satisfactory score on the New York State Second Language Achievement Test. She has also helped myself, a student who immigrated from Peru to the United States 3 years ago. She helped me navigate a completely different academic system, an environment characteristic of the English language, and above all, she helped me maximize the opportunities in the Newburgh School District. This year, thanks to her support, I will graduate in the class of 2025, and I will fulfill a dream that I had back there in Peru, which is attending an institution of higher learning here in the United States. This is why I stand here today. I would like to ask the Board of Education to reconsider not letting go of the administrators who play a key role in the development of students in the Newburgh School District. Thank you.
Mr. Dennis Grant.
Dennis Grant, City of Newburgh. We have a continuous battle of the school-to-prison pipeline here in this district, and for a while, it has been more of a school-to-prison bridge where it is visible and the distance is shorter. Removing our principals and directors will have that bridge become unstable. Taxpayers, master teachers, quitters of school board governance, etc., are pushing and have pushed for our students to function without the 55 grade minimum once they fall behind in days and grades. And I understand that concern, but without a strong, accountable replacement that generally supports our students, parents, and teachers, this move risks leaving our children in a sink or swim situation without a safety net. Meanwhile, the teachers' union appears to be securing a fortified net for itself in the upcoming contract, I'm sure with even fewer accountability measures. Boy, I can't wait to compare the last contract with what's being proposed now. I believe in unions, but this executive union rep is playing with people's lives that are a part of our district family and helps make the district functional despite our dysfunction. Teachers ought to be nurturers, guides, out of ignorance and into understanding for our children, and I believe most are. My mother was just that for many students, but I ask, would the signs of reading provide teachers with the tools of empathy? Will it equip teachers to recognize the needs of a hungry child, a homeless child, or one carrying the weight of generational trauma? Can it help a teacher patiently guide an ELL student through the complexities of the English language, offering compassion alongside instruction? Or will our struggling scholars be met with punitive taskmasters, armed with tools, but lacking the patience, empathy, and humanity to use them effectively? These are not excuses, but realities in our community. Many of our children in our district are tough, resilient, and prideful, like go-backs ought to be. Can the tool of empathy lead our teachers to recognize and not demonize our go-backs? Given this continuous, unstable work culture, you wonder why we have below par reading levels. Bullying colleagues can cause a toxic trickle-down effect to our scholars. I took the time to research the science of reading, and like many elements within ARC, it offers useful tools to support our teachers, even more so in some areas, but without aligning it with meaningful feedback and accountability for both our scholars and educators, we risk repeating the same cycle. If we simply present the science of reading as a panacea for our students' reading struggles without holding anyone accountable for outcomes, then I say to those advocating for this shift because they felt ARC didn't work for them, this is what I fear: a distinction without a difference. Thank you.
Miss Angela Paul Gaito.
Good evening. My name is Angela Paul Gaito. I'm a resident of Newburgh Town, business owner in Newburgh City, and I'm the mom of two kids from the Newburgh district. I came with two different things to talk about, and I was hesitating if I wanted to talk about something that I wrote, my concern about the science of reading and more about the kids itself. And I have something else more about the community concern. And I had to make a choice because I won't have time to read everything. So I'm going to go with the community concern because I think it's something we need to really insist on. Last time I expressed my concern about the lack of transparency and lack of common sense of the majority of this board. And like I said, today I was going to go in a totally different direction and really focusing more about the kids. But I changed my mind, and I will talk about the community concerns. I also want to say it's nothing personal. I'm going to talk about the acting superintendent. I know a lot of people from the community loved her when she was a principal, so all my respect, and I just don't want anything that I'm going to say is being taken personally. The community is deeply concerned about the ongoing legal matters initiated by the acting superintendent against the district, both past and present. One case has already been settled for nearly $400,000, and there is an active case with the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission that could lead to further litigation involving the acting superintendents against various cabinet members and multiple district employees. It is imperative for the majority of the Board of Education to justify how they deem it fiscally responsible to appoint someone with such a complex legal history to the position of acting superintendent. This decision poses a serious risk to the district's finance and the responsible use of taxpayer funds. The board must take the community's concerns seriously and reflect on the potential repercussion of this choice. Additionally, there is rising alarm regarding the action of the acting superintendent, particularly those that appear retaliatory towards certain employees connected to her legal actions against the district. The insurance and subsequent rescission of 19 pink slips issued without clear rationale threatened to expose the district to further legal challenge from valued staff members. Not only valued, but like you heard, loved by a lot of people from the community. We demand a comprehensive and transparent explanation of these actions. Moreover, we insist that the board conduct a thorough investigation into all relevant activities since February 11 to protect the interest of the district and its community members. Furthermore, clarity is needed on why recent action involving the football program were inaccurately attributed to the superintendent when the decision to continue the suspension of the coaches was actually made by the acting superintendent. This misinformation, which was not corrected by anyone on the panel, must be addressed. Lastly, an alarming interaction occurred during the last board meeting between the acting superintendent and an assistant superintendent regarding the prohibition of cabinet members from answering board members' questions without authorization. This is just wrong. Professionals in such high-level positions should not be restricted from utilizing their expertise and answering questions relevant to their roles, especially considering the substantial salaries they receive from taxpayers' funds. This issue cannot go unaddressed. Thank you all in advance for the answer to this question in a timely fashion. And my personal question to you is, why do you wish the failure of our district? I just don't get it. Thank you.
Ms. Riley Maida.
Hello, my name is Riley Maida, and I'm a senior at NFA Maine. I'm one of the students that was scheduled to meet with at least one member of this board 2 different times in the last month. Both of those meetings were canceled, one with only a few hours' notice, which I just wanted to point out is unprofessional and inconsiderate of our time. Anyway, I have several concerns about these canceled meetings and the proposal to have a current board member who has publicly stated that she is running for re-election appointed to be that liaison. The entire situation, including the canceled meetings and the fact that it has now been on multiple board meeting agendas, just highlights the dysfunction and unwillingness of this board majority to work with all of the board members for the good of the students. Why were we only supposed to be meeting with one board member, and why would we trust that board member, who has demonstrated an unwillingness to work collaboratively with half of her board colleagues, time and time again, to report back and speak on our behalf to the other members of the board, when she failed to even tell every board member she intended to schedule such a meeting? This just furthers mine and many of my peers' belief that nothing the current majority of you are working towards, inside or outside of these meetings, is for the good of the students. If the intention is really to hear our concerns, then put us on the agenda for a meeting or invite us to an executive session. Don't use us to score political points because you're running for re-election. And if you're going to appoint a liaison, make it one of the 6 board members who is not running for re-election this year, so you can at least avoid the appearance of impropriety. Better yet, do what the board needs to do and add an ex officio officer, student officer now, rather than waiting until it is legally required of you on July 1st. That would be a much better use of your time if the goal was really to listen to the students, but from where I'm standing, you've proven time and time again that the best interests of the students and the people working in this district are not your top priority. Another point I'm here to make is about the pink slips that have been handed out in the last few weeks, one of the recipients of which several people have already spoken about, and I have known her for all 4 years I've attended NFA. I can confidently say that she's an essential part of our district, as well as one of the kindest and most hardworking people in it. My other point about her specifically is that I think it's ridiculous that this school district is looking to cut a position of someone who is one of the only people trying to paint it in a positive light. If you've read anything on social media or the news about Newburgh in the last few years, I'm sure you're well aware of what I'm talking about, because I haven't seen any positive media coverage or a positive post about Newburgh schools in years, except for the ones being carefully and thoughtfully written by this district employee. And about the pink slips in general, I wonder why a decision like this is being approved by an acting superintendent and is not on hold until the state of the superintendent position is figured out. And how a brand new acting superintendent has the necessary information and knowledge with less than 2 months on the job to decide which positions and staff to keep and which to get rid of. These are real people with lives and not boxes on the Excel spreadsheet of your budget. Once again, speaking on the district's image on the news and social media, I would like to reiterate the bad reputation that this district has garnered, much of which comes from the actions of this board. To anyone who watches or attends these meetings, myself included, all we see are members of this current board acting less mature than most of the people with which we go to school. Some members of this board also exhibit frankly abhorrent behavior on social media, and you can see some of them liking frankly racist Facebook videos on Facebook while claiming to represent one of the most diverse school districts in the state. I hope every member of this board takes into consideration what I and my peers have said tonight, and maybe even schedule a meeting with all of us and all of you. Thank you for your time.
Ms. Afreen Pathan.
Good evening, everyone. I kindly request all the board members to look here, look my way, pick your head up from your screens. To stop staring into your screens and listen to what we have to say today. Tonight, I'm not just talking about a principal. I'm talking about family, which includes the teachers, us students of NFA, the board members included, and everyone who's sitting in this auditorium. So as family, I am here to stand up for our principal. A principal isn't just an administrator, they're one of us. I've seen them work towards giving students a voice, making us feel heard. A majority of them walked these hallways as students and dedicated their lives to this community. And now, after decades of service, when they're one step away from retirement, 1 year away from retirement, and after all that loyalty, after all that love, you want to take it away from them? Look around you. Teachers are dressed in black. That's not just protest, that's mourning. Mourning the betrayal of someone who gave everything to this school. Administrators didn't come here for a paycheck. They came back home to make a difference. And now, at the very end of their journey, you want to fire them, not honor the work they did, not thank them. This isn't just about fairness, it's about heart. If we do this, what does it say to every educator who pours their soul into these classrooms? That loyalty means nothing? The decades of service can be just thrown away like that? Is it not our duty to show gratitude to someone who has worked to make this place better for us? Our principal deserves to retire with dignity. They deserve to walk out of these doors on their own terms, head held high, knowing this community stood by their side, just like they stood for us all these years. Don't let their last memory of this school be a betrayal. Let's do what's right and let them finish this journey with our love and support. Thank you so much.
Ms. Starla Burks.
Good evening. I don't gotta say my name. I did that the first time. But before I say anything, I'm so very proud of every student that got up here and spoke. And the reason I say that is because They didn't come one. They all stood behind each other. They were firm. They stood on what they believed, despite how y'all looked at them, didn't look at them. They came to let y'all know they sick and tired. And they standing on y'all necks and 10 toes down for every administrator, teacher, central office person that you took the initiative after sitting up here for a couple of weeks to say y'all are not good enough. Let me tell you something. I met a Miss Valentino. I met a Miss Bunts. Don't gavel me, because them students and everybody else said everything. I met a Mr. Williams. My kids have encountered them all. And let me tell you, the lasting impact that they had on my kids' life can never be replaced. They can never be replaced. You can shut.
No, let her talk. How many people said that name? Just because of your lack of control, you should let her speak, because a lot of people you didn't gavel. If you're going to control the meeting from the onset. Don't, when you get whispered to by somebody else, decide to do it halfway through.
I've been asked to call the next person. The last person that signed up to speak is Mr. Ronaldo Santiago. Madam President, there is nobody else signed up to speak.
Okay, moving on to number
we're not
4.
moving on yet. No.
I'll turn it over to Dr. Bond.
No, we're not moving on yet. Not yet.
All right. Is the video ready to go? I'd like to present a short...
Excuse me. Point of order. I wanted to speak. Thank you.
I was called upon, Mr. Doré, by the board president.
I was? Or was
I was. That's why I'm speaking.
I had my hand up.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Niblo.
Point of order. We are not moving on to the superintendent's portion. A board member has his hand up and would like to speak. You cannot ignore that.
I turned it over to Dr. Bond.
I had my
I'm
hand
running
up.
the meeting.
And
Because you ignore people.
To speak
I am
whenever
not
he wants to.
ignoring
He is
anyone.
the trustee. He has no, you have no more power over any of the other trustees. We have a right to speak.
His hand was up, Madam President. His hand was up. You didn't look in his direction.
Which
It
is
was up.
common.
Which is the second time tonight you didn't look in my direction. I'm right here. I'm going to speak. Okay? I'm going to speak. And I'm very, this behavior is actually what they're upset about. I heard a story yesterday. I was with an administrator, and it was about another administrator who came to our district, maybe last year, from a neighboring district. Really wanted to do a good job, brought in a tremendous skill set, and now apparently they're going out on the street. I don't believe in coincidences. I'm a little too old for that. So I'll say the quiet part out loud. What I'm seeing is if you're on Team C, you're about to go overboard. But if you're on Team B, you get to stay. That's what's going on here. This list of people, this is not a coincidental list. It's a targeted list. And I salute every single person who stood up tonight and had the courage to face tyranny. And that's what's going on in this district. It's absolute tyranny. And let me tell you what that is, without calling anybody a tyrant, but I'll give you the style. Tyrants rule. They isolate themselves, they rule with fear, and the other common denominator, they shut people up, and if you don't shut up, overboard you go. That's a tyrant. This is the 21st century. We have managers. Managers lead. Managers develop people. Managers are not scared of their people. Managers accept input. Often they accept criticism. They do professional development, and they build people. And that is not going on here, and that's a shame. This district needs a manager and a leader, and currently we don't have one. Thank you.
Okay, Dr. Bond.
Thank you, Madam President. Just going to show a brief video on the Right to Read film. Thank you, Mr. Niblo. I would like to extend an invitation to, again, our board and our community The Right to Read film will be shown this Thursday, April 10th, 6 o'clock, right here. I hope to see this auditorium filled with people. It will be followed by a panel of teachers and parents discussing how we work to ensure that all of our children are reading on or above grade level. Thank you. I'll turn over to Ms. Roaring for a budget update.
Good evening. Tonight we're going to present the current 25-26 budget based on information that we've received from the acting superintendent. If you could go to the first slide, please. This shows that the 25-26 budget at this time is $373.8 million, which reflects a $14.8 million increase year over year. It's important to note that the current revenue does match the current expense projections. Next slide, please. We did have required budget additions that are associated with our Exceptional Learners Program. We are aware of approximately 34 new students that will require an out-of-district placement. Their tuition is estimated at this time at $100,000 apiece. That reflects a $3.4 million increase in out-of-district tuition planned for next year's budget. Next slide, please. This shows the revenue projection that aligns with the expense projection of $373.8 million. It reflects, again, as we've said all along, a flat tax levy. It does reflect appropriated fund balance use, as we said we would do back on January 28th. Revenue variables that are still unknown to us at this time are the final state aid numbers. The state has not adopted their budget yet, and at this point does not anticipate to do so this week. We're still waiting to have clarification around changes in federal funding, which could have a significant impact on this district. We received quite a bit of funding and title that supports a number of positions. We also receive IDEA funding, which also supports a number of positions. And the biggest factor that we're waiting to hear about is any adjustments to the federal school breakfast and lunch program. As we note here, 79% of that revenue comes from the federal government. So changes in the reimbursement program there could have a significant impact on that. Next slide, please. This reflects the line by line on the revenue. You'll see at the very bottom, we have $373.85 million. We do show significant increases in our excess cost aid associated with what we are realizing. This is not based on the governor's runs because we're realizing revenue at a faster rate than that is reflecting. Next slide, please. Mr. Rothman's going to talk a little bit about the contract for schools mandated set-aside and community school set-asides that are part of the foundation aid total.
Next slide, please. So as discussed previously, the contract for excellence is restricted funds within the foundation aid. You can see that there is scheduled to be a 24% increase for the upcoming school year. Next slide, please. So State Ed has indicated that $21,955,979 will be the set aside for us. 75% of those funds must go to the top 50% of neediest schools. And the State Ed will communicate those exact numbers sometime after the state budget is adopted. And as Ms. Roaring said, we are awaiting the adoption of that budget. Next slide, please. So the set-aside currently within the allocation for foundation aid for the 25-26 school year, the district is considering the positions that are listed on that slide. Next slide, please. So another set-aside within foundation aid is community schools. Next slide. That amount remains the same, and as long as we continue what we have done this year, right, the 2 school psychologists, the social workers, and the 3 parent coordinators. Okay, and Ms. Roaring will then talk about the capital project propositions.
Next slide, please. So there is the possibility of 2 separate propositions being added to this May ballot. The first is around green energy. the district has applied for grant funds from NYSERDA to allow us to do some upgrades to our HVAC systems at 2 of our schools. Should we secure those funds, we are proposing to go forward with a project estimated at $33 million to install geothermal systems at both Fostertown and Gardnertown, taking those schools off of fuel oil as their heating source. At this time, the primary source of funding comes from the New York State Building Aid, and the grants that we may receive from NYSERDA would cover that local share. Next slide, please. At the last meeting, the board acted on resolutions to put forward this proposition on the May ballot, which includes renovations to the NFA North Auditorium, which would include things such as the stage rigging, new lighting, new sound, new seating, and making sure we are ADA compliant in the access for that facility. The estimated cost for this project is just over $3.2 million. The funds for that would come from the capital reserve. It would be a cash project. There would be no tax impact. Next slide, please. As we look at our next steps, the board is anticipated to adopt the budget at its April 22nd meeting. The budget hearing will be held on May 13th, and our annual vote will occur on May 20th. Next slide.
Thank you, Ms. Roaring. Are there any questions? Ms. Politi?
Dr. Bond, what was your vision in compiling this budget?
To put forth a budget that will benefit our children and not increase too much our taxes.
Okay, and what feedback did you receive from senior leadership regarding justifications or budget requests?
The budget process started way before I came on board. Senior leadership was integrally involved in that, as well as building leadership.
And were they on board once you came on board?
You would have to ask them.
Well, I'm not allowed to. You've been deferring all questions to you, so that's why I'm asking you.
You can ask them a direct question, and they can feel free to answer it. Go right ahead.
Ms. Roaring, have you been actively involved in this budget development? Ms. Peterson, have you been actively involved in this budget development since Dr. Bond arrived as the acting superintendent? Because that is a concern not only of myself, but a lot of the community, that you are isolating yourself and making decisions in a vacuum.
Ms. Roaring, go ahead, please, and then Ms. Peterson.
The process has changed a bit from where we started. We are receiving information and updates directly from the superintendent, the acting superintendent, in terms of where this budget will go.
I think that what the budget development process, I'm trying to answer this in the best way possible. We have a large budget, that we have to put forth, and it does require collaboration. There's certain questions that we need to have collaboration on so that we can be on the same page with certain things. Would I have hoped for more of that? I would have hoped for more of that. Have we been speaking to a lot of different people about our budget, which has taken some times away from doing just that? Yes.
And how did you determine what should be cut, Dr. Bond?
One of the ways we looked at it is the line-by-line item budget and what was spent this year in anticipation for what we need for the upcoming year.
No, I think I'm talking about how many people are going to be losing their jobs, because that's usually information that we have by now.
And that information was given to you about 2 meetings ago.
The community should know this by now.
The
This should be on
information
the
was
public.
given to the community in a PowerPoint about 2
And
meetings ago.
it seems like a short amount of time to evaluate so many people and then determine termination after a short couple of weeks that you've been here, especially from an acting superintendent until June 30th. And it's alarming that you don't know how many positions right now on the floor, how many people are going to lose their livelihoods. It's very disturbing. I think that we need a lot more information here. We had a really bad presentation from this budget specialist that we spent $25,000 on. We got a list of things that were accomplished, but no report and no information. We have to adopt a budget in 2 weeks, and we have zero information. No vision, no plans, and we have the community in uproar.
Mr. Howard.
Yes, thank you, Madam President. So dovetailing on my colleague, Dr. Bourne, how many individuals, full-time FTEs, will be lost during this budget? I know you said you gave it to us a couple weeks ago, but I haven't seen it. I've been very sick. So can you please expound on that now?
So currently, when it comes to central office staff, there are 15 positions that we're looking to abolish and create 7 new positions in its place, like I explained 2 meetings ago.
Okay, so no other employees or full-time employees are losing positions through this budget?
As far as abolishments are concerned in the budget, it is for central office positions.
Okay.
I had done a whole spreadsheet about,
Okay, I remember.
Districts
I remember,
that are
yes.
similar in size and their size of central office staff.
So I guess my question is, in light of tonight's presentation from the audience, from the community, from the people, are we still moving forward with, I'm going to use, for lack of better terms, the pink slip list? Or is that still moving forward?
I don't know if a pink slip list that people are referring to. I do, however, will be discussing personnel issues in executive session, as I said at the last executive session for this one coming up.
Okay, and my last question, parent coordinators. Can somebody explain what parent coordinators are? And currently, how many parent coordinators do we have? Because I see in the presentation where it says 3. I thought we had more than that. Do we?
We have a total of 5 parent coordinators. The 3 parent coordinators that were in the contract for excellence, and if you remember what Mr. Rothman said, contract for excellence is not additional funding. We're not getting more money for that. It's a set aside that is a targeted set aside to ensure those positions. So 3 of our parent coordinators are included in that contract for excellence set aside to ensure payment for them, more or less.
So we are losing 2. 5 to 3 is a loss of 2, correct?
I wasn't aware that we were losing any.
We're not losing any. 3 of them are being funded for contract for excellence.
Oh, so we're keeping the other.
5, yes.
Oh, okay,
Yes.
thank you. That's just what I was concerned when I saw that number. Thank you.
Mr. Bergarelli.
Thank you. Dr. Bourne, you once again said when the reductions of your administrative staff that you're comparing them to these districts that you compared them to last meeting. But we went through how these districts may be similar in size, but not similar in need. You didn't cover that part, and you didn't talk about that part, but I mentioned all the state aid numbers, and none of these districts even receive half the amount of state aid, which, if I'm to believe the experts, is an indicator of the needs of that district. So it's not apples to apples, that comparison at all. Do you have a comment? Do you want to clarify, since I'm not the professional educator, you are?
No.
Thank you.
Mr. Howard?
Yes, so I guess my question would be, without the 17 individuals who, from central office that's being recommended to 15, I'm sorry, would there be a balanced budget without that move?
There would be less money needed from the fund balance.
So
And would be able to fund teachers and teaching assistants more so.
So by not going forward with that move, it wouldn't put us in a negative balance?
We are currently using and utilizing fund balance now.
I guess my concern is that when, in the past, when we've had to make cuts, it was because it was to balance the budget. And to have this many people lose employment or lose their jobs, and we don't have a deficit, it's kind of concerning to me.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Ms. Waring, but if going into the fund balance means that we will have a deficit, because we have to take money out of reserves to cover the budget.
So at the January 28th meeting, we did mention to the community that we needed to utilize $3.7 million in appropriated fund balance for the 25-26 budget to put us back under the 4% cap. So that was always part of the plan, was to include that as a revenue source for next year.
Mr. Doré.
Dr. Vaughn, do you anticipate any legal exposure from this? I've spoken to some people that mention when you fire people at this level en masse, it could expose the district to litigation. And in my world, the non-educational world, if you had a person so close to retirement that's over a certain age and you just let them go and they really have nothing in their past that would indicate why they should go, that would create an exposure. So I'll go back to my question. Do you anticipate any legal exposure from this?
I do not anticipate any legal exposure due to the abolishments of positions.
Thank you.
Mr. Bergarelli.
Thank you. Dr. Bourne, you said that there's teachers and teachers' aide positions we desperately need. Can Ms. Peterson speak to that? Because I believe we've been hiring teachers throughout the course of the year when we've needed them. Isn't that correct?
So as a part of our budget development process last year, we knew that we offered an incentive to teachers to retire. At that time in that budget development process, we let the board and the community know if there was a need for additional positions, we would come back to the board and request. And we have done that on several occasions this year for special education, for different support positions, as well as we also provide the board weekly our vacancy list in terms of the recruitment of some hard-to-reach areas. So I know teaching assistants is on that list of hard-to-recruit areas. We've had several postings where we have tried to recruit teaching assistants, but it's a hard-to-fill area because of certification and other means.
But the cutting of these administrative staff, that'll somehow make it easier to hire people that we can't get qualified candidates for already?
So the cutting of the administrative positions, I'm not sure how to answer that question. I'm sorry.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Howard.
Thank you. My question is to David Shaw, and my question is, were you consulted on these decisions, and do you feel these are put us in any type of litigious situation going forward in this direction? Or can you answer that now? Or is that something we can answer in executive session?
I'd prefer executive session for that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, moving on. We have Resolution 4.2 through 4.4 on consent. Does anyone want to separate any out? Okay, can I have a motion?
So moved.
And a second?
Point of order, it's 4.3 through 4.5.
Okay. Oh, what about this? Okay, can I have a motion for 4.3 through 4.5?
Second.
And just second. Okay, roll call.
Ms. Mackenzie Boucher?
Yes.
Ms. Victoria Boucher?
Yes.
Mr. Bergarelli?
Yes.
Mr. Doré?
Yes.
Mr. Howard? Yes. Ms. Politti?
Yes.
Mr. Stewart?
Yes.
Ms. Christine Bello?
Yes.
Ms. Thomasina Bello?
Number 5, I'll turn it over to the clerk of the board.
Thank you, Madam President. I have the approval of the minutes from March 25th and a resolution to approve one additional election inspector.
Okay. Can I have a motion
So moved.
and a second?
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Ms. Victoria Boucher?
Yes.
Mr. Bergarelli?
Yes.
Mr. DeRay?
Yes.
Mr. Howard?
Yes.
Ms. Politi?
Yes.
Mr. Stewart?
Yes.
Ms. Christine Bello?
Yes.
Ms. Mackenzie Boucher?
Yes.
If you're still interested in running for the board, you can pick up a packet of information from the clerk's office. That's me. Packets of information and the petitions are due back in the clerk's office the last day of April, which is April 30th by 5 p.m. That concludes my items, Madam President.
Thank you.
Madam President,
Mr.
I'd
Howard.
like to move that we go into executive session for legal counsel.
Second.
Roll call.
Can I add something?
Go ahead.
I'd also like to discuss 6.1 in executive session.
Six 6.1 is not an executive session item, ma'am. So there's a motion on the floor with a second for advice from legal counsel executive session. Would you like me to call the roll, Madam President?
Yes, please.
Ms. Victoria Boucher?
Yes.
Mr. Bergarelli?
Yes.
Mr. DeRay?
Yes.
Mr. Howard?
Yes.
Ms. Politi?
Yes.
Mr. Stewart?
Yes.
Ms. Christine Bello?
No.
Ms. Mackenzie Boucher?
Yes.
You're all set, ma'am.
Thank you. Okay, number 6, the board president. Can I have a motion for resolution 6.1?
So moved.
And a second? Discussion. Roll call. Oh, I didn't see you. I'm sorry, Mr. DeRay.
I think the best idea of the evening came from a student that was out here before, and they said there, you don't have to wait for the mandate of July 5th or whatever the day is in July. You can select someone right now to be on the board. And I think I said it last time, but that was even a better idea today. Why don't we pursue that? We're going to have a retreat. Why don't we talk about it in the retreat? What are we going to do? And get somebody on the board instead of this, who's it going to be thing. This resolution makes no sense to me. We're so close to this deadline. We have the students available. Collectively as a group, we can select somebody to be on the board for the balance of this year, and then starting next year, somebody new.
Mr. Howard.
Thank you, Madam President. So I'm a little confused with this 6.1 because I was under the assumption at the last meeting that we had decided as a group that we would invite the student members to the board to speak to everyone. And then when I saw this on the agenda again, I was kind of confused and trying to figure out what was going on. So, and as we heard from so eloquently from the individuals, the student body president and individuals at the school level for student government, they don't want to have the individual come as an individual board member. They want to come here to speak to the entire board. So why are we still pursuing it? I don't understand.
Ms. Politi.
I'd like to make a motion to table this permanently.
Second.
Roll call. Roll call to table this permanently.
Roll call the table. Ms. Victoria Boucher?
No.
Mr. Bergarelli?
Yes.
Mr. DeRay?
Yes.
Mr. Howard?
Yes.
Ms. Politi?
Yes.
Mr. Stewart?
No.
Ms. Christine Bello?
No.
Ms. Thomasina Bello?
No.
Ms. Mackenzie Boucher?
No.
Point of order. Wouldn't Ms. Victoria Boucher have to recuse herself since she is voting about herself?
This isn't something that would constitute a conflict of interest legally.
Ms. Politi.
So, since we talk about transparency and how it's so important, As per policy, board members have no more rights than citizens. Victoria has no more right than anybody out here to walk in off the street and start talking politics with other people's children. As per ed law, parents have to consent for this. Even police officers have to obtain parental permission to speak or interview or investigate students. Educators in their official capacity have a professional obligation to protect students in loco parentis, and it refers to the legal responsibility of a school to act in the best interest of students, similar to a parent when they're under the school's care. Dr. Bourne knows this, and this is inappropriate on so many levels. The children came here tonight and told you they didn't want to speak to you, but we're still going to go through with this. And there's no altruistic motivations going on here. We've already uncovered that she has been delivering flowers from Chris Diane under the guise of being a floral intern to win votes that way. This is to sway voters of young children, and it's manipulative, and it's really, really ugly.
Victoria.
Well, that's your opinion. So if that's going to be what happens to me, then that should be for every board member on this board, correct? There should be no board member that goes in and meets with students at any time.
There is a difference between acting as a parent, because I know what you're trying to spin here. I know you're trying to say that because I interact with my children's teams, every parent does, excuse me, or Mr. Howard, because and here's the other piece too. We're going to dive into it. You and your mother cyberbully full time. This is someone who we want mentoring our children. Mr. Howard.
Where does it mention a mentor?
Excuse me, I'm speaking. Mr.
You've
Howard.
spoken enough.
Mr. Howard answered a call to the community to become a mentor volunteer for MBK. There was a call put out to the community. He said yes, he went through the training, he implements the MBK curriculum, and it is approved. So this is very different contextually than what you're trying to do, and it's inappropriate.
No, that's your narrative that you're putting out there.
No, but I take offense to bringing me into this because what I do, I don't go in as a board member. I am in there as a community mentor, mentoring of young boys in the school district, at the high school level and at the middle school level. I'm not in there talking about issues to bring back to the board. I'm in there as a mentor that was a part of the mentorship program for the My Brother's Keeper from the initiative part of the program 8 years ago. So if you want to compare yourself going in to speak to student council members about issues to bring back to the board and what I do, I think you're in the wrong lane.
Mackenzie.
Mr. Shaw, can you speak to if this is against recommendation to have a liaison for the board speak to student council when student council brought issues to us? That's question one. And then question two, I forgot it actually, so just that question for right now.
Is there a consensus for me to answer that?
Yes.
Okay, I believe that under policy 1600, there is an ability to designate a board member for a purpose such as this.
And then to follow that up, campaigning in a school is illegal, correct? That would be grounds for not being able to run for the board.
There shouldn't be campaigning in the schools. I think that's a long-standing practice in this district.
So if that were to occur, there could be disciplinary action for Ms. Boucher.
Could you repeat the last part of what you said?
So if the accusation is that she's going into the school to campaign for votes, or that she delivered flowers to campaign for votes, then disciplinary action would be brought before her if that was proved to be true, if voted on by the board.
Is there consensus to address that?
Yes.
Yes. She should not campaign in the school in any manner. If she is campaigning in the school, there is the potential for proceedings to remove her from the board.
Mr. Howard.
Yeah, so my confusion is, you had students sit in front of this board in this community tonight and said that they wanted to come to the entire board to speak to the entire board, that they had no interest in one person coming to speak to them about the issues or problems they're having as student council members. So why would we go against the wishes of the student population who she's going to see and allowing that to happen? I don't get it. Let's just invite them to speak to the entire board. Let's invite them to our executive session. Let's invite them to come and bring their issues to us as a board. They said it tonight.
Ms. Politi.
And there's a big difference between what's legally able to happen and what's ethically the right thing to do. And the children have spoken, but it's more important to just do whatever you want to do.
Bully the kids. No, we're coming. We're going to be there.
Mr. Bergarelli.
I agree with my colleagues. They requested to come to our meetings. So, we should, first course of action that. But something that was floated last time we met about this was multiple board members being present, not just one. That was floated, I think, actually by Mackenzie, saying multiple people could be doing this. Instead of one, it should not be one person.
Ms. Boucher.
Can I make a motion to add my name to that list?
I second.
And anyone else if they would like to come?
I would love to be a part of that.
So a motion to add Mackenzie Boucher and Ray Bergarelli to that list.
So for clarification, the children told us what they want, but we're going to do what we want to do because we're the Board of Education and we're going to go see them anyway. Just for clarification.
For clarification, the children that were here are a small part. They don't.
The student body president.
They were student body president.
Oh.
They were the same children that she wanted to meet with.
Thomasina?
Perhaps if there wasn't such a terrible rhetoric being spread about what they think is going to happen in this meeting with the student board, then, maybe that's what the children are reacting to, is a whole lot of false narratives put out by what our fellow board members think we're going to do in this meeting.
No, they came with that written. They didn't make that up on the spot.
Ms. Politi.
Thank you, Thomasina. I think you just proved our point that they need to meet with the entire board and not just select few, so they can discern and make their own decisions on what they believe is the right thing to do.
Ms. Boucher.
Also, to be clear, and Mr. Shaw, maybe you can speak to this, this resolution doesn't state that a meeting's set to occur at any point in time. This is just setting liaisons on the board, and both things could happen. We can have the liaison, and they also can come speak with the board at the next meeting.
Doesn't sound like the legal opinion is necessary for that.
Ms. Politi.
There are also no parameters to what this liaison looks like, so could this liaison be meeting whenever they feel like it without board approval with children? Potentially. I think that's dangerous, and I think it's a very bad precedent to set, regardless of what side of the table you're on.
Ms. Boucher.
So then, can I make the motion to amend this to add Ray Bergarelli's name, my name, and the note that the meeting with the student council would need to be board approved? Like a date, if you want to add logistics to it.
How about also
point of order,
getting authorization from them that we want to come?
Point of order. The amendment that I have on the floor is to add Mackenzie Boucher and Ray Bergarelli to the list. That had a motion and a second. So there has to be a vote on that amendment.
Is someone going to call that question to vote on the amendment?
Right. Before we can start adding again or amending it again, we have to call the question, and you would need to call the roll call, Madam President.
Roll call.
This is the roll call on the amendment to add Mackenzie Boucher and Ray Bergarelli to 6.1. Mr. Bergarelli.
Yes.
Mr. DeRay.
Yes.
Mr. Howard. Ms. Politi.
Yes.
Mr. Stewart. Ms. Christine Bello.
Yes.
Ms. Thomasina Bello.
Yes.
Ms. Mackenzie Boucher.
Yes.
Ms. Victoria Boucher.
Yes.
The motion's now been amended. You would now need to vote or amend it again As is.
I'd
Ms.
like to
Bulletti.
make a motion to amend that not only do you need board approval, but you need all three in participation in order to have a meeting.
So moved.
I'm sorry, Ms. Politi, can you repeat that? I didn't hear it.
I motion to amend that not only does this meeting need to seek board approval, but it also needs all three present in order to occur and parental permission.
And parental permission.
The motion that I have from Ms. Politi, there would need to be all three board members present at this meeting, as if they're going to be the liaisons. In addition to, the board would have to approve a date that they're going to meet,
Yes, and seek parental permission.
and there would need to be parental permission. Okay. That's the motion. Is there a second?
So moved. Whatever you need.
Mr. Howard?
Is it on the question now?
Yeah.
Okay, so my concern would be, okay, in light of what we heard here this evening, so we're putting a committee together, so we've decided what we want to do. So now, who is to reach out to the student body government we had the president here tonight who said they want to come and meet the entire board. So what do we tell them? That we're sending a contingency to meet with you for what? And what would that look like, and what will be the model and scope of that meeting?
Victoria?
When this first came about, it was Dr. Bourne that had Ms. Sklarls reach out to the student council advisors, and they had set up the meeting. Subsequently, there was a question made to the board the day before I was supposed to go to NFA, and I then had to cancel the meeting because I wanted to do it the proper way and have a discussion with the board and do a board vote. So that was the first time it was canceled. The second time, there was no second meeting set up. So that's what that synopsis was. There was nothing behind it except to discuss what they had stood at the podium and said, and to get their input on what they believe needs to be spoken about from the board. That was the reason for the meeting, is to say, you're standing at the podium telling us that we look like clowns and we need to get our stuff together. So what is actually happening in these schools that we should be discussing? That was what was supposed to happen. I encourage other board members to come. No one else at the time volunteered to do it. So I encourage other board members to come. This isn't a campaign stunt. I genuinely want to know what the issues are in the schools, because there's 1,000 rumors, and to hear it from the kids is important because they live it every day. So that's my view on it. The more the merrier.
So will there be an attempt to reach out to the student body government and ask them, would they still want to have a board representation come and meet with them? Or are we going to tell them, we're coming to meet with you?
No, I think it needs to be collaborative.
Okay, so that should be a part of what the scope and model of this visit should look like. You know, to go there on an open end and nobody understands or knows what will and can happen. I think if we go there with a specific model, a specific agenda, and this is what's going to be discussed, so be it. But I think that they should be able to determine whether or not they want to meet and have that type of discussion, or if they want to come here. I think that should be their choice.
I agree with you, and I want to say that when I first had made this plan, what was written back to me in an email was that they were more than excited to see a board member. Not specifically me, but to talk to a board member. And I can forward that email if you want to see it.
Ms. Politi?
One more thing that I'd like to point out that's really interesting is that if you're so interested in hearing what these children have to say, not one time when any of them came to the podium did you take your eyes off that screen and look at them and listen to what they had to say.
Was that meant to be harmful or helpful?
That's fact, and you can check the minutes and go back to the video and watch it.
And roll call.
This is a roll call on the second amendment. Mr. Duray?
Yes.
Mr. Howard,
Yes.
Ms. Politi,
Yes.
Mr. Stewart,
No.
Ms. Christine Bello,
No.
Ms. Thomasina Bello,
No.
Ms. Mackenzie Boucher,
Yes.
Ms. Victoria Boucher,
Yes.
Mr. Bergarelli.
Yes.
The Second Amendment passes. That's correct.
Roll call on the resolution as amended.
Ms. Christine Bello,
Yes.
Ms. Thomasina Bello,
Yes.
Ms. Mackenzie Boucher,
Yes.
Ms. Victoria Boucher,
Yes.
Mr. Bergarelli,
Yes.
Mr. DeRay,
Yes.
Mr. Howard,
Yes.
Ms. Politi,
Yes.
Mr. Stewart.
Yes.
Ms. Bello?
Point of information.
Yes, Ms.
Go ahead.
Politi?
Phil can go first.
No, I was going to ask, so who's going to reach out to who? The board president? Would you be reaching out to the student council to set the meeting up?
I believe Dr. Bourne should do that.
Yeah, I can set up a date and then communicate that to the board for approval.
Ms. Boucher?
I was going to say, should we decide amongst the three of us what date works? That all of us can be there since we all three have to be there.
So respectfully, I think that we should ask the students and the student council when they're available, and then we can come back and discuss, because that was the bullet point last time.
Sounds good.
Ms. Politi?
So while we're still in your section, I would like to address the fact that for the past 2 agenda-setting meetings, I have emailed you and asked you for several bits of information, and I've gotten no response, and nothing's been put on the agenda. So I'll just go over this again. Before we adopt the budget, I asked for line-by-line revenue and expenses, position listing, property tax credit report card. Can you please ensure that we receive them with the agenda? Also, the budget calendar we, the Board of Ed, approved states that we should have received a proposed budget on March 25th. We didn't. When is the budget consulted updating the BOE with its findings? We need a justification in the amount that we spent on the forensic audit. And again, the board docs is not updated to reflect the money spent on both budget specialists and forensic audit. When will we receive the info on this and the timelines for receiving the information? I'd like that information now, because I've asked for it twice and received no response.
Okay, unfortunately, I got your email after agenda setting had taken place.
You got my email 2 weeks prior to that, before the original agenda setting, and it's not true. I sent it the day before. Your agenda setting was on Friday.
No, it was
It
on
was Thursday.
Thursday.
What about the 2 weeks
Unexpectedly.
prior to that, when I asked for that? Why are you not disclosing the information of the amount that the forensic audit costs?
It's in the resolution, Ms. Politi.
It's not. It's not. I went back on the board docs and I asked for it to be there. It's not in there.
So point of order, I've updated board docs. The signed contract along with the proposal with the costs is on board docs in public.
Okay, so then I really encourage the public to look at that number, because we're spending money on witch hunts and reasons to fire people instead of on children.
On the other items, if you read your email, we did get a line by line. I believe it came March 25th, because I know I had
Communication
it.
from you would be nice. It would be nice to receive an email back when I send you one.
We are moving on. Number 7, the Associate Superintendent, Ms. Leamer.
Thank you, Madam President. On the Human Resources agenda, we have items 7.1 through 7.17 for your consideration on consent.
Would anyone like to separate any out? Okay, Ms. Politi?
7.2 and 7.3.
Mr. DeRay?
7.17, please.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay. Can I have a motion on 7.1 through 7.17, minus 7.2 and 7.3 and 7.17?
So moved.
And a second.
Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Thomasina Bello.
Yes.
Ms. Mackenzie Boucher.
Yes.
Ms. Victoria Boucher.
Yes.
Mr. Bergarelli.
Yes.
Mr. Duray.
Yes.
Mr. Howard.
Yes.
Ms. Politi.
Yes.
Mr. Stewart.
Yes.
Ms. Christine Bello.
Yes. Okay. Can I have a motion on 7.2? And a second?
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Bergarelli?
Thank you. We already have a superintendent for HR, do we not?
I'm doing the work. I'm an interim employee, but I am doing HR.
So we already have a superintendent for HR. So why would we be hiring another one at the highest salary of all of our superintendents? It doesn't make much sense. Who has, no experience in HR? Can we answer why this is a good move, why it's fiscally responsible?
Mr. Duray?
Sure. Also on 7.2 here, the thing I share most with the candidate is neither one of us have any experience in HR, and I find that an issue because we're not a training academy, we're not a small school district or anything like that. So what a paradox. We're hiring people, a person, at an extremely high salary that you would normally pay to somebody that's well experienced at their trade or at their skill set. But we're paying that to somebody who's going to come to our district and learn on the job. And we're not an on-the-job sort of district.
Excuse me, Mr. Duray, this is not appropriate for a public discussion. It's a personnel issue.
I don't think I'm going into detail. We have a person when we've already discussed that.
Ms. Boucher?
You can't cut him off. He's still talking.
I'm done, thank you. I think I made my point.
Ms. Boucher?
Ms. Leamer, can you just confirm your position is interim, meaning that you accepted that position not to be a permanent solution, that the job would be posted and eventually assistant superintendent of HR would be hired?
That's correct.
Thank you.
Mr. Howard?
Yes, but Madam President, so to Ms. Limer, your interim appointment is through June 30th, correct?
Yes.
And the start date for this individual is June 9th. So why would we not try to find someone who is more, has a better background in HR if we have that time allotted to us? So why are we doing this now? That's my question.
I don't feel this is appropriate for public discussion.
Would you like to go back into executive session?
Mr. Shaw, can you provide an answer on that? Is this too sensitive for this? I mean, we're discussing, I just don't feel it's right.
Generally, there isn't open meeting discussion about the qualification of candidates. What's been said so far isn't stigmatizing. However, at some point, it may be inappropriate to go further on discussing the individual in the open meeting.
I'd like to call the question.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Roll call the question. We need 2/3.
Point of order, is there any more discussion? There's no more discussion. Who's the second? Roll call on calling the question. Ms. Mackenzie Boucher.
Yes.
Ms. Victoria Boucher.
Yes.
Mr. Bergarelli.
No.
Mr. Duray.
No.
Mr. Howard.
No.
Ms. Politi.
No.
Mr. Stewart.
Yes.
Ms. Christine Bello.
Yes.
Ms. Thomasina Bello.
Yes.
Motion fails. You need more than a majority. You're still on discussion, ma'am.
Anyone else?
Yes.
Mr. Howard?
So I would like to move to table this.
Can you repeat that?
Move to table.
Second.
Roll call on to table this.
Mr. Bergarelli.
Yes.
Mr. Duray.
Yes.
Mr. Howard.
Yes.
Ms. Politi.
Yes.
Mr. Stewart.
No.
Ms. Christine Bello.
No.
Ms. Thomasina Bello.
No.
Ms. Mackenzie Boucher.
No.
Ms. Victoria Boucher.
No.
That item fails.
Can I have roll call on 7.2?
Mr. Duray.
No.
Mr. Howard.
No.
Ms. Politi.
No.
Mr. Stewart.
Yes.
Ms. Christine Bello.
Yes.
Ms. Thomasina Bello.
Yes.
Ms. Mackenzie Boucher.
Yes.
Ms. Victoria Boucher.
Yes.
Mr. Bergarelli.
2 superintendents for HR, no.
That motion passes.
Resolution 7.3, can I have a motion? And a second? Discussion. Ms. Politi.
So I have a question about this, Dr. Bourne. Why this SMOA? Why this SMOA right now?
This discussion has been ongoing with the union for several months now, and we have come to an agreement.
So that sounds great, but one thing that has to be considered as a board and as a district leader is that all of the bargaining units have contractual obligations beyond their hours for whatever reason. Teachers have faculty meetings or parent-teacher conferences that they have to stay for that they don't get paid time and a half for. Administrators' hours are undefined that they don't get time and a half for. And while, CSEA has to come in to maybe clear off the ice or whatever their capacity is, you're offering this to one bargaining unit and not the other two. It creates a discrepancy. And it seems highly politically motivated.
The other bargaining units already have this.
I'd like to see the contractual language for the next meeting, please.
Mr. Duray.
I see the time and a half here. Has there been any background work to see what the burden would be financially on paying the time and a half?
In the last year, it happened twice. I don't know what the cost was, though, but we had to ask staff to stay after we declared an emergency in a couple of the buildings. Most of them were buildings and grounds folks. I can try to work with Mr. Velez to get that information.
Okay, so then we could table this till we get that number?
Yeah, I think that'd be better. Motion to table.
Second.
Roll call on the motion to table.
Mr. Howard. Ms. Politi.
Yes.
Mr. Stewart.
Yes.
Ms. Christine Bello.
No.
Ms. Thomasina Bello.
No.
Ms. Mackenzie Boucher.
No.
Ms. Victoria Boucher.
No.
Mr. Bergarelli.
Yes.
Mr. Duray.
Yes.
Item to table passes.
Next, can I have a motion for 7.17
So moved.
and a second?
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Duray.
Sure, this is a lot more fun when somebody has tenure, so congratulations to Roberta Taylor for achieving tenure with our school district. I don't know if you're out there, but welcome. Thank you.
Roll call.
Ms. Politi,
Yes.
Mr. Stewart, Ms. Christine Bello,
Yes.
Ms. Thomasina Bello,
Yes.
Ms. Mackenzie Boucher,
Yes.
Ms. Victoria Boucher,
Yes.
Mr. Bergarelli,
Yes.
Mr. DeRay,
Yes.
Mr. Howard.
Yes.
Madam President, at this point, HR needs to add 2 items to the resolution, to the agenda, sorry.
Can I have a motion? Oh, a motion to add 2 items. Victoria made the motion. Can I have a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Roll call to add. Mr. Stewart,
Yes.
Ms. Christine Bello,
Yes.
Thomasina Bello,
Yes.
Ms. Mackenzie Boucher,
Yes.
Ms. Victoria Boucher,
Yes.
Mr. Bergarelli,
Yes.
Mr. DeRay,
Yes.
Mr. Howard, Ms. Politi.
Yes.
Thank you. The first resolution is to accept the resignation of a permanent district employee. The resolution reads, "Be it resolved that the Board of Education hereby accepts the resignation of school monitor Jamel Barnes, effective April the 8th, 2025, as set forth in a letter dated April the 8th, 2025.
Can I have a motion?
So moved.
And a
Second.
second? Okay, roll call.
Ms. Christine Bello,
Yes.
Ms. Thomasina Bello,
Yes.
Ms. Mackenzie Boucher,
Yes.
Ms. Victoria Boucher,
Yes.
Mr. Bergarelli,
Yes.
Mr. DeRay,
Yes.
Mr. Howard,
Yes.
Ms. Politi,
Yes.
Mr. Stewart.
Yes.
Second resolution is to accept the resignation of a permanent district employee. The resolution reads, "Be it resolved that the Board of Education hereby accepts the resignation of senior school monitor Curtis Bullock, effective April the 8th, 2025, as set forth in a letter dated April the 8th, 2025.
Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Thomasina Bello,
Yes.
Ms. Mackenzie Boucher,
Yes.
Ms. Victoria Boucher,
Yes.
Mr. Bergarelli,
Yes.
Mr. DeRay,
Yes.
Mr. Howard,
Yes.
Ms. Politi,
Yes.
Mr. Stewart,
Yes.
Ms. Christine Bello.
Yes.
Thank you, Madam President. That concludes my items.
Thank you. Number 8 is the Assistant Superintendent of Finance, Ms. Roaring. Where is she? Oh, there you go.
Thank you. The Finance Division presents items 8.1 to 8.18 for routine consent this evening.
Does anyone want to separate any out? Ms. Boucher?
8.2. 8.10. That's it.
That's it. Anyone else? Okay. Can I have a motion on 8.1 through 8.18 minus 8.2 and 8.10?
So moved.
And a second.
Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Mackenzie Boucher,
Yes.
Ms. Victoria Boucher,
Yes.
Mr. Bergarelli,
Yes.
Mr. DeRay,
Yes.
Mr. Howard, Ms. Politi,
Yes.
Mr. Stewart,
Yes.
Ms. Christine Bello,
Yes.
Ms. Thomasina Bello.
Yes.
On 8.2, can I have a motion
So moved.
and a second?
Second.
Discussion? Ms. Boucher?
So we're taking $4.3 million and putting it into health insurance. That's what you're doing?
Originally, these funds were removed from health insurance to cover an expense that occurred. That expense has been reclassified, so the funds are available to put back into health insurance to cover the increases in rates we received in January for the end of the year.
And we're not going to need BOCES tuitions for $161,000?
At this time, we don't expect to need anything additional, but if we have additional students who are enrolled between now and the end of the year, we would need to fund that.
And where would that come from?
We would have to evaluate the lines available at that time.
Anyone else? Roll call.
Ms. Victoria Boucher,
No.
Mr. Bergarelli,
Yes.
Mr. DeRay,
Yes.
Mr. Howard,
Yes.
Ms. Politi,
Yes.
Mr. Stewart,
Yeah.
Ms. Christine Bello, Ms.
Yes.
Thomasina Bello,
Yes.
Ms. Mackenzie Boucher.
Yes.
Can I have a motion on Resolution 8.10?
So moved.
And a second.
Second.
Discussion? Victoria?
Yeah, we've gone over agenda after agenda, and I'm approving spring athletic transportation bids Part 2 when the season started in March. I just hope that moving forward, we can do this way before the season. I understand that the things in here are for after today's date, but it's kind of unsettling having an unknown, because what we're saying is that we're doing this transportation as of 4/11, so before today, we didn't know what we were doing, and that just makes me nervous.
May I respond? So it's not that we didn't know what we were doing. We did actually find out from athletics that these additional trips were necessary, so we went through the bid process, and we are here to award that. The schedule evolves as it goes throughout the season. It is very rare that we have every single competition when we have to put out the initial bid so that we can award for the start of the season. It is often that we do at least 2 rounds of bids to award for athletics transportation based on the information and when it's available to us.
Ms. Boucher?
Are we able to, once we approve the trip, to then do the bid for the transportation?
So approving an athletics trip is different than this. This is for the routine competitions that happen in the section during the season. The special trips, when those are approved, the transportation is part of that approval. It's separate.
Ms. Politi?
Yeah, I will piggyback on what Ms. Roaring said, because this is a track schedule, and this is a pretty quick turnaround because we didn't get the track schedule until maybe early last week or end of the week before. So thank you for that.
Roll call?
Mr. Bergarelli?
Yes.
Mr. Duray?
Yes.
Mr. Howard? Ms. Politi?
Yes.
Mr. Stewart?
Yes.
Ms. Christine Bello?
Yes.
Thomasina Bello?
Yes.
Ms. Mackenzie Boucher?
Yes.
Ms. Victoria Boucher?
Yes.
Number 9, the Assistant Superintendent, Curriculum and Instruction, Elementary, Dr. O'Grady.
Thank you. The Division of Curriculum and Instruction Elementary present items 9.1 and 9.2 for your consent.
Does anyone want to separate any of them? No. Okay, can I have a motion?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Duray?
Yes.
Mr. Howard?
Yes.
Ms. Politi?
Yes.
Mr. Stewart?
Yes.
Ms. Christine Bello?
Yes.
Thomasina Bello?
Yes.
Ms. Mackenzie Boucher?
Yes.
Ms. Victoria Boucher?
Yes.
Mr. Bergarelli?
Yes.
That concludes my items. Dr. Soto is out, and there needs to be an adjustment made on one of her items, so Dr. Freeman Mack is going to explain that.
I was just going to ask. Thank you.
Good evening. For Curriculum Instruction Secondary, we have two items for your consideration, 10.1 and 10.2. However, within 10.1, the last field trip, which is the My Brother's Keeper, grades 7th and 8th grade students, that number should reflect 60 students. And the amount not to exceed should be $5,000, not $3,000.
Ms. Boucher.
So can I make a motion to amend 10.1?
Point of order, so you're one step too fast. So somebody has to put it on the floor first, and then you can make the motion.
So moved.
Okay, and a second?
Second.
Just 1 second. Okay.
Can I make a motion to amend per what Dr. Freeman Mack just said?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Roll call on the motion to amend.
Mr. Howard?
Yes.
Ms. Politi?
Yes.
Mr. Stewart? Yes. Ms. Christine Bello?
Yes.
Ms. Thomasina Bello?
Yes.
Ms. Mackenzie Boucher?
Yes.
Ms. Victoria Boucher?
Yes.
Mr. Bergarelli?
Yes.
Mr. Duray?
Yes.
Roll call as amended, Bam.
Like a motion, a roll call on the amended resolution.
Ms. Politi,
Yes.
Mr. Stewart,
Yes.
Ms. Christine Bello,
Yes.
Thomasina Bello,
Yes.
Mackenzie Boucher,
Yes.
Ms. Victoria Boucher,
Yes.
Mr. Bergarelli,
Yes.
Mr. DeRay,
Yes.
Mr. Howard,
Yes.
Can I have a motion for Resolution 10.2?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. DeRay.
Sure, just to comment on one of the courses is something I've been speaking about, meeting people, introduction to teaching, and I think that's fantastic. It's a great career, and I think we can find an awful lot of qualified candidates right in the four walls of the district. So congratulations.
Okay. Anyone else? Roll call.
Ms. Politi,
Yes.
Mr. Stewart.
Yes.
Ms. Christine Bello,
Yes.
Ms. Thomasina Bello.
Yes.
Mackenzie Boucher,
Yes.
Ms. Victoria Boucher.
Yes.
Mr. Bergarelli.
Yes.
Mr. DeRay,
Yes.
Mr. Howard.
Yes.
The Assistant Superintendent of Exceptional Learners, Mr. Bear.
Thank you, Madam President. The Division of Exceptional Learners has item 11.1 for the board's consideration.
Can I have a motion?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Stewart.
Yes.
Ms. Christine Bello.
Yes.
Ms. Thomasina Bello.
Yes.
Ms. Mackenzie Boucher.
Yes.
Ms. Victoria Boucher.
Yes.
Mr. Bergarelli.
Yes.
Mr. DeRay.
Yes.
Mr. Howard.
Yes.
Ms. Politi.
Yes.
Thank you. That concludes my items.
Can I have a motion to adjourn?
Madam President, real quick,
Oh, Mr. Howard?
back to the teaching course, if I may. Is there a specific plan to reach out to the children or reach out to the students and try to push them in that direction, or try to get them to have an interest in teaching, or are we just going to offer the course? The reason I ask that question is because I think it's an excellent opportunity for us to grow our own, but also to pitch that desire early. So is there a specific plan to target students and push them in that direction? I know that Dr. Soto's not here, so that would be under her purview, but can someone else speak to that?
I can have Dr. Soto get back to you.
Okay.
Can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Christine Bello.
Yes.
Ms. Thomasina Bello.
Yes.
Ms. Mackenzie Boucher.
Yes.
Ms. Victoria Boucher.
Yes.
Mr. Bergarelli.
Yes.
Mr. DeRay. Mr. Howard.